Hey everyone, welcome back to our coverage of House of Villains Season 2. We are back here for our recap of episode 6 in a week that has been dominated by real life villains. It's time for us to take a little bit of a breather and a break here to check back in with our favorite reality TV villains here on House of Villains Season 2. I am Jenny Autumn, of course, joined by my wonderful, incredible, beautiful house guest.
Yes.
You're a house guest? I don't know.
I'm a house guest.
Co-host?
I'm a guest.
Chappell.
Guest
You're
in a
only
beautiful home.
No, you could be anytime, but in this setting you are my co-host. But perhaps I'm spilling that you're going to be on BB 27.
Oh no. The end. No.
I can't manifest that. I can't be like New York.
You're not allowed to. No, you cannot. You're not allowed to. Yeah, Jenny, being here is a fresh of breath air,
Yes.
So I understand.
Yes, of course.
I get it. Yeah.
We need this fresh of breath air this week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot has happened since we checked back in from last week. It was spooky season and things continued to get spooky. Episode 6 of House of Villains Season 2 here. And we've finally lost our third villain as we see Camilla Poindexter from Bad Girls Club get eliminated tonight. How are you feeling about this?
We have some unfinished business to talk about when it comes to Camilla. I believe
straight to the cocky, or
I do want to address it because I don't remember our conversation. I think I haven't slept since then, and I've slept since then. So ignore my shirt. What I'm saying is, we were talking about the potential for each of the people who was getting eliminated, like Camilla, to go home or whatever. And we were saying that was good for some people's games and bad for other people's games. And I would think we were kind of like, we'll put the cocky on hold until we figure it out.
I think we said we would give Jesse the cocky.
Yes.
But because we couldn't give some other people the cocky because it was very contingent on who ended up going home.
Yeah.
So things have fallen into place here. Are you wanting to give the cocky up from the top here?
No, I think we gotta talk it through because I think
cocky before the cocky.
Yeah, we don't want to put your cocky too early on. You gotta wait. But yeah, shout out to Jesse. I think Jesse gets to keep his cocky from last week for sure.
Yeah, I think that was fair.
Yeah,
we did it with what.
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta talk it through.
Yeah, because this was, we went into this banishment, and I truly was not sure where this vote was going to go. I really did think it could go either way. These are two people that that we end up being against each other in the final banishment here that I don't think are along for this game. I kind of felt like either of them could go here. But it's ultimately Camilla. But let's start from the top here with how things shook out after the shocking nominations that Larsa makes. And they come back from this hit list nomination. Everyone's basically saying Larsa fucked up. We said it too.
Yeah, but it is universally recognized. Everybody is confused by these nominations. Obviously, Teresa is. Larsa's kind of big braining this whole thing, right? If I show that I'm willing to part with Teresa, people won't lump us in together. Thus, if she stays, we can have a secret alliance, right? Where people aren't necessarily saying these two are a pair that we have to split up. So in her mind, this is a good move. But we talked about how bad of a move this is several ways over, right? It's gonna be hard for Teresa to forget this. Teresa could go home here, which would be bad for her. And if you don't talk to Teresa beforehand about it, it does just feel like a blindside. I think that one of the things these villains who are not more familiar with playing these types of games don't realize is that your allies are really your biggest asset. And it's really hard to navigate the game if you have people targeting you. And I think from Larsa's perspective, she thought, I could probably clean this up with Teresa, when in reality, she cannot.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, it's a different game when you have such a small amount of people that you're working with in the first place, where, like you said, you know, the allies you have are very, very valuable because there's not that many people, and so you need to have a few people that you're truly not wronging, and you don't have to, especially at this, like, many numbers still in the game. Like, she did not need to piss off Teresa, and as we see in this episode, I think that what might be happening here with Larsa is, like, she is just so traitors brained right now, and I think that she's looking at this game too much like it's a similar thing when it's really not.
Mhm.
And, like, yes, there are social strategical elements to it. And they are all you know, reality stars from different franchises all being mixed together. But I think that Larsa is looking at this as like, oh, I think she's just like traumatized by like her experience on the traders, because there's a difference between playing the traders with like a group of like 4 plus people from like the Bravo housewives, like,
Mhm.
contingent, and being one of 2 housewives on House of Villains, where I think on the traders, like, yes, you know, having this big voting block, not being willing to potentially, like, you know, vote out someone from this show, even if you think that they might be like a traitor or whatever. Like, that stuff is more of a problem on that
Mhm.
show. I just don't think that same argument transfers over to this game. And I think that she just, I don't know. I think she just had this experience on the traders where she's like, all right, I'm here to play. And all of these people, like, previous relationships can't mean anything. But, like, there is a different, there's a totally different aspect to traders. Like, people who have previous relationships and would work together are sometimes forced to not work together because of the trader versus, like, faithful relationship that is not really chosen by them when you're playing that game. In the House of Villains, like, everyone's on the same level, and then you've
Mhm.
got like you know, your super villain of the week and stuff like that. So I just think that she's like acting like she's playing that game carried over here, and it just doesn't really register.
I will say this. I want to give her some credit though, because for me, I like seeing aggressive gameplay.
Oh, for
I
sure. Yeah.
personally could never play that way, right? Like I'm more of a
Same.
like, ooh, like let me fade into the background and hope that things happen
How do
around
I
me, and
feel?
maybe I could
Yeah.
influence them a little bit. That's kind of my style. But
Yeah.
in this episode, I was very impressed with Larsa. I thought it was an awful move, obviously, but the way that she was handling it, like trying to bring Teresa back in and being like, "No, we're friends." Like, I'll even put our little voodoo dolls next to each other. Look at them back to back. We're friends. Like, I was like, she is trying so hard. And then
Lethal
later
weapon.
on, we'll see her talking to Safaree and being like, "Listen, you need to go with the house, because if you don't go with the house, you're getting up lonely out in the cold. You don't want that." Like, she really was trying to take like a boss mentality to the game. And
I
although,
felt
like
like
I
it
said,
was very mob
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 wob wob,
mob
mob wob,
wife.
wob
I
wob.
cannot
It
speak
was a
today. This is
fresh
really
breath
good
air.
omens. Yes, I am giving a fresh of breath air. No, I just felt like she had like a mob boss, mob wife kind of energy in this episode, which I
Mhm,
almost think, like, I agree. She got what she wanted, sort of, because it
mhm.
seems like what she really wanted was Victoria to go. Um, but I do think that some of the ways that she was trying to influence the vote did come off like a little too like, this is what we're gonna do. I
Right,
think that there
I like it.
sometimes needs to, like, it is good, but, like, to a point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, do you
No,
wanna
I don't think she
massage it
did
a
a
little
good
bit?
job. Yeah, I don't think she did a good job. I just like the persona. You know
That
what I'm
she
saying?
did
Like,
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like if we're she's not getting the hockey. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're coming in to be like, Larsa, you can't just strong arm people. But also, I like that she came in with the plan to strong arm. Like, I came
Yeah.
in, I had a goal, right? And I'm going to make it happen. She's gonna force these people to like bend to her will. If it works, cool. It's probably not gonna work. You probably want to have a lighter touch. But I did appreciate like the character moment from Larsa, I guess I'm trying to say.
I mean, no complaints. She comes in here and for a late addition to this cast has really become, you know, part of the forefront of the gameplay here, to the point where, you know, she's really taken Victoria's spot in like the men's alliance, as like their kind of person that they're also working with. Which leads me to like some of Victoria's commentary after these hit list nominations, where she says, you know, I was not shocked. Everyone was shocked by these nominations. I was not shocked. I know who she is. I know Larsa. She gets dickmatized by any guy. Anyone with a dick, and she will never support women. And I was like, oh, she said that. She said that. And so that was Victoria basically being like, no surprises here. She was always going to put up like all women, even if it was like one of the people that was supposedly her best friend. But like you said, even though like Teresa is definitely like making comments about how she will not, like, she'll forgive, but she won't forget. You know, Teresa and Larsa seemingly sort of make up, at least on the surface. So she did it, but she's sort of getting away with it.
Kind of. But I think Teresa's in a tight spot though, because her two besties
what are other options?
Well, her two besties are fighting. You know, like Victoria and Teresa are still really good, and then Teresa and Larsa are still really good. At some point, Teresa's gonna have to pick a side, and I think that Larsa doing this might come back to bite her, because even though Teresa and Victoria have a little spat in this episode as well, by the end of it, you still see Victoria like combing Teresa's hair and stuff like that. So she hasn't burnt any bridges. Teresa's doing a good job of like leaving the options open, and then the potential for her to backstab or betray all these people, she would be justified in it if she is to win Super Villain of the Week. And she puts up Victoria, she can be like, hey, you threw me on the bus last week. If she puts up Larsa, like, you put me up. You know, it's giving her a couple outs by keeping her enemies closer than she normally would. So I don't know. I'm impressed with Teresa a little bit.
Okay, so I will counter this with that. I feel like Teresa is drawing dead here for me, and that
I don't think she's gonna win.
I don't think she's gonna, but like I think that her situation really worsened this week, because she's kind of found that through, you know, yes, she's got Larsa and she's got Victoria, and they don't like each other. She's got options. But she's also found through this week and through this episode that like neither of those connections are very good. Like we see later in this episode, Victoria is going to be a messy bitch and is going to like stir the pot of Teresa versus New York some more. And Teresa is aware of that and is actively annoyed and frustrated with Victoria. I think that she's put herself in this situation, and I don't know if it's just by being too passive and not getting herself into like bigger and better alliances or what, but like her two biggest allies in the game, I just don't think are very solid people. Like Larsa literally put her up when there were like 10 people in the house still, or like 9 people in the house. And Victoria is like, you know, giving her business out to like anything that she says to Victoria can be said to somebody else. And then when confronted, Victoria will basically be like, oh, that's not what I said. I meant like
that.
Yeah.
Accident. Yeah.
So, and then with the other people, I just don't know. It doesn't seem to me that she has like a super great relationship enough with other people. However, things can change very quickly. All it can take is like, there was a point where Camilla was very valuable to Wes, and that changed obviously. And you know, we obviously saw Victoria become very valuable to Wes, and then Larsa comes in, and like now like Victoria's kind of fallen from grace with like the Wes contingent here. So all it could take is for, you know, Teresa to be in a spot in the house and someone like a Wes and Safaree and Jesse type to be like, she doesn't really have anyone, like maybe we pick her up. So it could be okay, but I just feel like there were a lot of situations where she could have gone here, don't you think?
Oh yeah. It's wild because Teresa shouldn't be in this position, right? She has a built-in ally in Larsa. Like that should have already been established, right? That she's not able to carry that into anything. Maybe that's just Larsa's paranoia, whatever. She's been working on Victoria. And in this same exact episode, Victoria looks at Teresa dead in the eye and says, if I win Super Villain of the Week, I'm going to put you up. And Teresa's like, what? And she's like, oh, just kidding.
Lol, JK.
Really? Yeah, LOL, JK, you wild.
She was joking.
But she was not joking. She was not joking. Because then when she goes and tells New York the story, she says, I went to Teresa and told her, I'm going to put her up. And she said, why not New York? Like, wait. You didn't even,
like,
what is happening?
That was exactly what happened.
But... Right, I'm like, there's no LOL JK there. I think her ally just looked her in the face and said, I'm going to put you up. And it honestly, it kind of makes sense because look around. Unless you think Victoria's about to put up Wes, Safaree, or Jesse, which I don't think she would, her only options are Teresa, Larsa, New York, and Candy.
And we learned through this episode that Victoria does have some affection for New York. Like she does go out of her way to kind of just like give New York information. And she talks about how she feels about her. Like me, she's a slut for a psychic. This New York has this premonition that she's going to go home in 3 days or whatever. I don't know why that meant like, I don't know how that would have made sense because I don't know how she could have gone home in this situation when she was safe. But for whatever reason, Victoria is feeding into New York and her visions here. And she feels some sort of loyalty to her. But I just like with Victoria, I'm like, I can't tell if sometimes she's lying and doesn't realize it, or she like forgets what she said. And then like I truly can't tell sometimes if something is a lie or if she just like remembers something completely differently or just like doesn't realize what she says, because some of the things I'm just like, what happened here?
She just be talking. I think that's the thing. I think everybody like, Safaree says, I think a couple people like, she's a liability. She just be talking. Yeah. I was so ready to come in this episode after Victoria wins the redemption challenge. I came in being ready to be like, she's back, baby. She's getting the cocky again.
You said that she couldn't do it again, but she
said it couldn't be done, y'all. The queen is back. Vicky, come on, man. When she ran, first of all, telling Teresa you gonna vote her out is wild. Even if it's a joke, that's wild.
To her face. She's like, Larsa just did that to you, so it's like,
right, you can't be more mad at me. Then she tells New York, who we've discussed is not somebody who's ever going to take anything like this, like rationally. She's not going to like, oh, okay, I'm going to pocket that and use it for later. New York is going to run this back to Teresa immediately. And it's not like, hey, Teresa, by chance, did you happen to say anything to Victoria? Blah, blah, blah. She comes to her like, Teresa, you bitch. I'm like, wait.
You're trying to get me out?
You're trying to get me out, Teresa. And then on top of that, I was like, okay, Victoria could still get away with this as long as she doesn't admit that this was her. Teresa says, yeah, somebody just threw me under the bus to New York. Victoria goes, it was me. It's like, come on, man. What are we doing?
Especially because here's the thing. I feel like New York was maybe not consciously, but was kind of protecting Victoria here because she keeps saying like, these walls can talk. Like these walls can talk. And so I feel like she's insinuating to Teresa, like, I overheard this, because there's been multiple instances in this show where people have overheard the like other people shit talking. Like I feel like that's been a storyline like in multiple episodes. I don't know what's going on in the House of Villains like mansion, but like apparently the walls are paper thin, or maybe just because you put this many like big personalities, they have no volume control. Wow, can't imagine what that's like. But I just feel like she had the out here where, New York like heard us talking, I think, because I walked out. Like Victoria has like plausible deniability at this point where she could just be like, after we had that conversation, I actually did see her nearby. So I think that she maybe heard us talking. No, she straight up is just like, oh yeah, that was me. But it wasn't like that.
I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't think New York would overreact. Like, I'm sorry.
It's day 10, Victoria. You don't know her yet?
No, everybody knows New York. Nobody came in that house not knowing who New York was. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can convince me people came in that house not knowing who Richard Hatch was. You cannot convince me anybody came into the house and had no clue who Tiffany Pollard was.
Especially because they all at least watched the first season of House of Villains.
Yeah, you know this lady is insane in the best way possible. You know, so I'm like, hey, this isn't. I don't know, and I'm with you on this one. Victoria gaslighting us because she's like, I don't know. I didn't know she was gonna say that. I mean, like, she's a psychic. What you want me to do? Like,
I just like, couldn't figure out what she wanted or intended there, because she also acknowledged that New York is someone who can kind of like go off like that, but she said, or I think she said, like, she activates quickly or something like that. And it's because she's charging. She's on her charging dock. So she's ready to go as soon as you need her.
Gearing up.
But she said, I like her when she's on my side. So it's like, that says to me that there's like some awareness here from Victoria where she knew what she was doing. And she was like, I have to feed her information, let her pop off. And I'm the good guy that like, you know, let her in on what was happening. But then she's like, then she's saying in confessional, she's like, I accidentally like let Teresa know. I'm like, or that accidentally like threw Teresa under the bus. I was like, how is it an accident though? Like, I just like, are you gaslighting yourself at this point? Production, us? I don't know what's happening.
Right. At best, let's say you did this on purpose. Victoria is now putting a target on Teresa from New York. But why? What is that going to benefit you? Yeah. Teresa being here is good for your game. She's the only person who's constantly going to bat for you. You know, like every time we see Teresa, she's like, I don't know. I still like Victoria. I don't know. You know? Mm-hmm. And now you're like, okay, let me put New York on her. It's like, why?
And New York was already on her.
Yeah. Like she was already, I just need to nudge her a little bit over the cliff. And it's cool. She's a villain. This is what we want from our villains, right? It doesn't have to be rational gameplay, but I can't give you the cocky. I can't do it. It's like, not this week. Sorry.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, you know, she still did some stuff that like helped her out. Obviously, like she literally saved her ass from going home, because it does seem, I guess, like this is a question, and this is maybe a point of discussion here. What happens if I mean, it was never going to happen, but if Teresa wins this banishment challenge, and or the redemption challenge, we'll get to the challenge and talk about it as well, of course. But if it had ended up being Victoria versus Camilla, what happens there? Camilla's still gone, right?
Camilla's gone.
But don't you think that Larsa wanted, so do you think, are you saying then that this is more about Wes?
Yes.
Truly just Wes getting what he wants and not so much about Larsa.
Yes, absolutely. Larsa had no control over what happened when she put up her allies. It does not matter. Like, once you put up your allies, they can choose to keep whoever they want, because most outcomes will benefit them over you. You know what I'm saying? Getting rid of Camilla was the least beneficial thing for Larsa. You know,
that's why I feel
right. But then look at the other options, right? Teresa, who is like, I just got burned by you. Victoria, who is such a loose cannon, unreliable, as Safaree will call her. Like, these are who we're leaving in the game to be your allies. Good luck. You know, it's like, Wes had one target. It was Camilla, and if Camilla was on that block, Wes was going to do whatever it took to get her out. Candy was always going to go to bat for Camilla. I think Camilla gets 2 votes to stay. Candy and someone else, probably New York.
Oh, I think that had to have been New York. New York, Candy, after that blow up with Teresa, probably voted against Teresa, right? Yeah.
But then, like,
and I think
everybody
that New York and Camilla were good too. So
right. everybody else voted Camilla out, you know, and so I'm thinking that if it's Larsa, if it's Victoria versus Camilla, Candy's gonna vote for Camilla again. You know,
See,
Teresa,
I think
is
that's
not voted.
a tighter. I think that's a tighter vote though, because I think that I think that obviously Wes wanted Camilla gone, but because Camilla was against Teresa, who, even though she was responsible for putting her in this position, Larsa really did not want Teresa to go home. It wasn't about making sure that Camilla was the one that went home. It was about Larsa needing to make sure that it wasn't Teresa that went. And so I don't think that I don't think that Larsa pushes for Camilla to go. If anything, I think she definitely is pushing for Victoria to go. And I think that Larsa maybe has some influence over Safaree and Jesse.
It did seem like Larsa was working that angle.
And we know that Safaree is a little. We didn't get to really see much of it this episode, but I think he might be a little interested in Larsa.
Yeah, but I think Wes wins the day. I think Wes always gets what he wants in the situation. I don't think anybody has more influence than Wes in this situation. I'm not saying game wise across the board, but this time Wes had his eyes set on Camilla. There's no way he's letting Camilla escape the block to get rid of Victoria. Victoria, who would have a very hard time getting some jury votes at the end of this. You know what I'm saying? Camilla, who has taken out one of the bigger people in the game, and Richard Hatch, put him on the block. There is no way Wes is going to let Larsa influence the house over him. He's going to go to bat.
I believe that he would work his ass off. I just think that the difference here is that you had Larsa and Wes working for the same goal. And in the situation of Victoria versus Camilla, I think that they have different priorities. And I think that you've got people like Safaree and Jesse, who, while they are loyal to Wes and are working with him to what degree, I don't think that they see as much of a benefit of getting rid of Camilla as they know that Wes does. And they don't like Victoria. So I really think that would have been the more interesting vote. And I think that we really that could have been, you know, Camilla's best hope to stay here, because I think that Larsa does have some sort of you know, influence on Safaree and Jesse. And also we see from the conversations that Camilla has when she's kind of campaigning to stay, that like she had a decent relationship ish, I think, with both Jesse and Safaree as well. And I think it just kind of came down to they didn't want to piss off Wes and Larsa. I mean, maybe we'll get an explanation about why they ultimately voted the way they did. But like Safaree literally tells Camilla before the banishment that he was going to keep her. Yeah. And this man's just lying all the fucking time.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like he lied. I don't think so. I think he lied. Yeah, I think for me, I gotta look at Wes as like the power player here. Jesse also, you know, we did give Jesse the cocky last week.
He was the swing vote, apparently, really. Like,
yeah. Well, Camilla comes to him like, you know, I need you to vote with me. And he says, okay, but you put me up. And she's like, I didn't put you up. He went up on her week of Supervillain of the Week, but she actually did not put him up. Now, would she have if she had the opportunity? Probably. She probably would have, you know, and I think if I'm Jesse, I'm like, but you would have. You know what I'm saying? Like, like Victoria got to choose the replacement nominee. If she didn't have to choose a replacement nominee, you would have chosen me as a replacement nominee.
Like if it was like a regular veto where like Camilla had to replace Wes when Wes was taken down, then I think that, chances are pretty good that Camilla puts up Jesse there. But I guess he's just like, well, she did, like he feels a loyalty to Larsa, and he's like, she didn't put me up. And she's like, well, technically I didn't either. Which is fair. But she also did put up all of the people you were working with. So
it's a shot to you. It is. It just is. And so I think that there was no way that Jesse was flipping off of this either. And then for Safaree, like, he's saying, I want to work with Camilla, but it just doesn't make much sense for him to go rogue here. He could have. He definitely could have. But it just didn't make any sense. It's like, okay, I get rid of Victoria, who apparently just loves Safaree. You know, like she can't even sleep in her own room without being like, guys, we having a slump. Like, what are we doing?
Let's
like,
chat. What are you doing?
They're like, that's not his work. Get out of here. Go to sleep.
You're like,
you know,
what if I'm gone tomorrow? They're like, no one's gone tomorrow.
No one's gone tomorrow. We don't eliminate people on Thursdays. You know, it's like, so that's what like.
I fear
Safaree.
I could be this annoying. If I have a crush, I think I could be this annoying.
For me, it doesn't even take a crush. First of all, if people are not awake at 8 o'clock in the morning when I'm up, ready to go to breakfast, I'm like knocking on, hey guys,
what's up?
You want to take a shot? You know, like anytime
I have a hard time
people. Yeah, I'm
going to bed when like I hated sleepovers, because I was like, why? Who's going to sleep? We gotta stay up.
Right.
We gotta
all this social
I don't want to
energy.
miss it.
Are you crazy?
Look at all these people here. Let's chat.
Right. If I go to sleep first, what if I miss something? I'm the last one to go to sleep. I'm the last one to leave the bar. I'm the first one awake.
First one up. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta be. I'm like, all right, y'all, let's get the party going. So nah, I think that if he really thinks about it, she's no real threat to him. And I think that, you know, although she is annoying the hell out of these people, she's no threat. So they're like, okay, she's not coming for us yet. Now,
if she's not a threat to you, then her being annoying is, if anything, a benefit, because that means that that's another person sticking around that a lot of other people are going to target over you.
Mm-hmm.
Safaree is such a joyful person on this cast for me, because he's just like such a wild card. Like, this man straight up just says to Larsa's face, like, I don't know. Like, she's just saying to Wes, well, Jesse in the car was saying like, yeah, well, Camilla's never put me up, so like she wasn't responsible for me going up, so I don't know. We have to talk to Jesse and like make sure that he's voting with us. And then this man Safaree says to the supervillain of the week and his closest ally, I assume, in Wes, and it's just like, well, you know, I don't really know how I'm voting. Like, it's so like endearing how like he's just doing what he wants. Truly. Yeah. He's not thinking about numbers and calculations and what's the optimal strategy. Like, he's like, but is this what I want to do?
Yeah. This week, the guys were on autopilot. They had the luxury of allowing Safaree to do that, to just like kind of like be a leaf in the wind. Every time we cut to Wes and Jesse, they're like, so it's Camilla, right? All right, cool. You drinking like, oh, so you eating egg whites? What is that about, huh? And like Wes is like, Safaree, you got a Versace robe on. Safaree's like, well, you sleep with your earplugs in. Like the guys, every time you cut to them, it's just shenanigans.
Living their best life.
Yeah, they're not threatened right now at all, because this was such a massive blunder from the other side. You know, it's like, hey, you had them on the ropes, and now all of them are eligible to win Supervillain of the Week this week. And if one of them does, chances are it's not going to be one of those 4 guys that goes up, and maybe not even Victoria. They might put up Victoria to placate some people, but I think that, you know, aside from them, I think in Candy, I think a lot of the women are in a bad spot.
For sure. I fully agree. Like, as much as, you know, the week doesn't end up being as much of a disaster as it could have been for Larsa if Teresa had gone here, I don't think it's like a great outcome. I really don't think that Larsa needed to go after Camilla even. It just didn't. You know, I mean, obviously she had to make some nominations, but the passing comment of Camilla wanted to target the housewives, which again, you know, it was definitely you know, exaggerated, and Wes did his Wes stuff and he worked his magic. But yeah, it's not a good place for Larsa. Like I said about Teresa, I feel like she has relationships with people that are not reliable. Candy has just lost, you know, the only person left from the alliance, like of, I guess, so yeah, we see Richard and then Camilla go back to back. So she's like, I lost all my people. And none of these people seem to like each other either. Like, none of these people are really like fucking with each other. They're all kind of like talking shit. They're honestly doing such a disservice to like this. They're contributing to the this is why women's alliances will never work. Because they're talking so much shit about each other. They're the infighting, they're putting each other up. And this is how the men get away with it.
I mean, look, yes, the end. You know, it's like, hey, man, even if you just looked at the logical threats on the board, Wes plays these kind of games all the time. He plays the challenge. Jesse has been is a 2-time Big Brother player. Something in your heart should be saying, we gotta at least try to get these guys out. And it looked like, based on the scenes from the next episode, they might start looking at Wes finally.
I mean, Wes gets kind of mentioned pretty predominantly in Camilla's, like, you know, banishment speech, where she calls him the ringleader, and to which he says, there is a ring, but it is a democracy.
There's no ring. I would have said, boo, boo.
Don't say the D word right now, Wes, okay? It's been a week.
It's been a week. Also, boo. That would have been, I would have like, I'd have rolled my eyes so hard. Because, like, are you serious? Are you serious? Yeah, but again, if you're playing with people who don't really play these games, maybe that might work. It's definitely not the wrong. There's not a wrong answer. It's just a super, just like over the top, obviously, like just, you know, just giving you anything to leave me alone answer. You know, he obviously saying I'm the ringleader would put a target on his back. So he has to be like, no, we're all the ringleader. When in reality, no, he's probably the ringleader right now because he has the most allies. He's got Safaree and Jesse for sure. It doesn't look like Victoria is going to come after him right now. So that's 4 people out of the 8 that are left. So this next week is crucial because whoever goes here, and I guess based on New York's premonition, it's New York.
But that clip of her saying that she thought she was going home in 3 days, it had a little like 2 days earlier. She had 2 days ago, that. So I don't know. The math isn't mathing to me. Like, I think that she would have had to be up for banishment at this one that we just watched for that to even be possible. But
yeah, I think so too.
I hope I don't want her to go yet.
no, because she's doing so. Listen, is New York a good? Right, like she's not playing a good game. We can't lie. But
she's
at the same
playing
time,
the game though.
She's playing the game. You know, like good game is subjective. You know,
she's
but like
playing how New York wants to play, and that's
which is wild because in the past New York just be like, I'm not playing. I'm gonna just do whatever New York wants and I'm gonna leave. You know, but like it does feel a little bit like she kind of tapped in right now. So I'm loving it, but her premonition is wrong. This is the first time we saw New York get a psychic prediction wrong. Does this allow her to lose some allies? You know, like it seemed like since Victoria is a slut for a psychic, if New York's wrong, is she less of a psychic now? Is she less of an ally to Victoria? What do you think?
I feel like I don't know if psychics are necessarily have to be correct 100% of the time for them to still be a psychic. It's like does the weather like does a meteorologist need to like get all of the weather predictions 100% correct for them to like keep their job?
Yeah.
So
but if my whole
I don't know.
If my alliance is based on the idea that you are a psychic, you got to be a psychic more times than not, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like
you have to have like.
Now I'm starting to tally the
you gotta be over like 500. Like
she's still fine right now.
Yeah, I think she's still doing pretty well, but we might just not be seeing some of the other L's.
Yeah. Dude, what do you think about the show doing that? We get a lot of flashbacks on the show of like stuff that happened that we had no clue happened.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I love it.
I love it.
I love a flashback. I'm a slut for a psychic and I'm a slut for a flashback.
That part.
I love that shit. Yeah, I just love when they fill in the context that when there's callbacks. So we get like the fight between New York and like I love when it's related to the strategy, but I also love when it's just like context for like drama because we get this big blow up between New York and Teresa here. We finally get the moment that we've been waiting for. This is the title of the episode. Welcome to New York, New Jersey. Like, loved it. And New York references that Teresa had gotten a delivery of these roses from her husband a few days prior. And, you know, without that footage, that would have been like such a strange, like I would not have understood this argument, partially because it was a lot of just yelling back and forth of like the same words back and like over and over and over again. But we got to see the context where, you know, Teresa got this huge delivery of roses, and New York says, "Those roses are from a guilty man, and he sent you one rose for every day that he's cheated on you." And I'm like, oh my God. And Teresa goes, jealous. First of all, I don't think Teresa has been away long enough for there to be a rose for every time that her husband has cheated. I don't know if it's days or if it's times. Like maybe he's cheating and it's just like repetitive 24 hours around the clock. Like
is every interaction cheating? You know, like if I'm texting, you know, is that cheating? And then like, okay, I was texting you and that's cheating. Then like we did the do and that was cheating too. And now we're about to link up for coffee. Still cheating.
Still cheating. Like, you get like a rose for every one of those things.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like different, because there were different colored roses too in this like giant arrangement.
Huge
like some were white and some were red, I think. It's like, do you have different colored guilt roses according to like
what levels of guilt?
Yeah, like the white ones were like the texting or the coffee, and the red ones were like P and the V, you know, like
right. Where does hand stuff rank? You know, is it like off-white?
Like like a pink rose, maybe.
Okay, I'm starting to pick it up. There's some symbolism in the pink rose for sure. I can see what you're talking about. But to me, if New York is yelling this at me, how are you upset about this? You know, like when your brain hears this, I know you want to be mad, right? Because someone is slandering your husband and your relationship.
Yeah.
But you're also thinking back to someone handed me 50 roses yesterday and it's day 8 of this competition. Like,
yeah.
Did he really cheat 50 times? And like, are you really like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you like psychic New York? Just put me on blast. I'm angry. Or are you just kind of like, okay, New York, thank you for the information. You know, like how do you move with this?
I love this though, because like New York globs onto something and like then is just full throttle onto it. Like she is just like, she's never been more sure of something in her life. And this is the kind of thing that we never would have seen this footage, because to anyone else it would not have been a thing. Like we would not have cared. It would not have been important. This was just incredible stuff. I like, well, this is what we came here for.
I can't be mad. You know, it's like, is it good gameplay? Hell no.
No.
But I don't care. You know, it's House of Villains. Baby, be a villain. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Good gameplay all around would make this a boring show, and it would not be House of Villains.
Yeah, Victoria had a good line in the episode. She said, like, oh no, we play a villain on TV. Larsa's really a villain.
Yes, in
like,
real life.
That was a cool quote.
I was like, that was like, bars.
Yeah, but if like think about New York. New York is a villain on TV, right? Like outside of TV, who knows, right? But on TV, this is the role she was born to play, and so she's killing it. I cannot give her the copy, but very proud of New York making it this far. As Joe McHale will say, this is episode 6. We started off with 10 people. We ended this episode with 8. Nobody's going home these days.
It's a crawl. But you know what? When you make a reality show that is centered around so many entertaining people, let's not blow our load too quickly. Let's not be Teresa's husband. Because I want to savor this moment. I want like to really enjoy the reason for the season, you know? Like, okay, so I had a thought while watching this episode, and I feel like, and I think again, he's warming up. He's almost like charging up like a New York. But I just keep on having these moments where I'm like, Jesse Goddard's Mr. Spectacular is like the Jim Halpert of this like cast. Like there are so many, and like that is a crazy thing to say if you are like, you know, acquainted with Mr. Spectacular and his lore from Big Brother until this point. Like,
yeah,
the fact that he is like the straight man and like and is kind of like the person that's like in control while all this like other nonsense is happening all around him, and he like, I just feel like I can see him like looking, like making eye contact with the camera when something crazy's happening, being like, Jesus, like that is crazy.
yeah, and he's trying so hard to not be that guy.
Yeah,
he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna strip. Takes off his clothes. He's like, I should just wear these underwear. Look at my ass. Then he's like, shows up the whole banishment ceremony. He's just flexing, and
he's nervous.
Yeah, but yet still, he's just like, he's hanging out. Nobody's talking about targeting Jesse. Nobody's bringing up Jesse's name. As a Big Brother fan, this warms my heart.
It does. It's crazy because it's like it's almost like he can't help himself but to play a good game. Like,
yeah,
it's almost the opposite of when there's people that like, oh, if only like they have the tools to play a really good game, but like they can't help like this big personality of them of theirs, like they just can't help but get into these fights or like get into the drama. It's literally the opposite in that like he has all of the tools to be an absolute menace, and he just can't help but like just play it cool because he's always had that though. Like that's the thing we kind of talked about. Like we knew that he was capable of this, and it's just like we needed to like
bad at Big Brother.
No, we just need to put him into a house of this many other crazy people, which is a wild thing to say considering the casts he played Big Brother with.
Well, that's the thing. He was a standout in the two most insane casts that Big Brother has ever seen.
Yeah.
Right. Like season 10, crazy. He gets outplayed by one of the greatest players of blah, 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 5.
Yeah.
But when he comes back, he's running circles around these crackheads in that house.
He's a cult leader.
Producers had to step in and remove him from the game. Remember, the coup d'etat exists because Jesse was running the game. Let's be very clear what happened here, okay? So, yeah. He's like, he really should be looking at Wes as like, do I want to go to the end with Wes? Should I be willing to cut Wes for Safaree, which would probably the move? Or do I just need to have better jury management than somebody like Wes? Like, will the people like me more than Wes at the end of the day? I don't think Jesse can count on that. He's been Mr. Spectacular for a long time. He's never been Mr. Popularity. But if he can somehow get Wes out of the game and end up in the end sitting next to Safaree or Victoria, I think he's cleaning up, man. I don't know.
Oh, I agree. I also don't think that Jesse is like looking to go to the end with someone like Wes. I think that he's accurately seeing, especially now that it's like being said out loud by multiple people, that like Wes is, you know, it's not a big enough house. There's not enough people for like Wes to hide behind when it comes to him like running shit. And I think that he's way more likely to get clipped eventually. And so it helps him to be with Wes, and somebody else will take care of him. Like, I think that that's how I would be thinking about it if I was Jesse. I don't know if that's exactly how he's thinking about it, but I stand by the cocky we gave him last week. I just like can't believe that this is the run that he's having, but I'm so for it because I just think it's so funny that like he's just like living his life, eating his eggs, wearing his like little Speedo.
Yeah, little underwear.
He's flexing the pecs. He's just being fun, and everyone likes him.
Yeah, that's him, Mr. Spectacular.
It's a good place to
before we wrap, we have to talk about our supervillain. Our supervillain guest of the week as well. We mentioned her a little bit last week. You flagged it up that we were getting Tori Spelling in this episode, and misspelling. You would slut for psychics, but I don't know. I might be hot for teacher. It was nasty. This was
very, very risque.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a slut for a psychic. I'm a slut for a good pair of fishnets. And she came in and I was like, what is this, Brazzers? Like
no. I mean, yes. I'm not cutting that. She said she said spit the apple in my mouth, and I about fell to my knees.
I cannot believe it. Candy they do like this Beverly Hills 90210 montage. The show gets very unserious at times. It's very funny, it's cute, it's very campy. And so the challenge is about obviously the 3 on the hit list, but the rest of the cast is there, which I love. I love that they're involved. They're in the classroom. Miss Spelling's there, and Candy is like, oh teacher, I got a gift for you, and it's an apple. And she makes Candy come up, take a bite of the apple and spit it into my mouth. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I barked a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. I like when people take control.
Oh, I know that's about you.
Yeah, people know this about me. I'm definitely like, nah, I'm not in charge. You're in charge. Yeah.
You would have freaking melted into a pool of applesauce.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about it. I was like, it's not so much Tori Spelling. I've known her for a long time as far as like from television and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Never once have I been like, okay, Tori Spelling. But on this episode, today? I was like, misspelling the teacher?
Yeah.
Spit it in my mouth?
And she she had the ruler, she was like working it like it was a whip. She was like,
again. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that multiple people, I think this was bringing back like, like old school like nuns like hitting children with the
rulers,
with the rulers.
But
I think she was like bending Jesse over and like just cracking the whip. Like I think that there were some nasty things going on in this classroom during the challenge.
I was intrigued. I was definitely like,
you're like,
this is
subscribe.
Yeah. I was like, there gotta be a torrent or something I can find the rest of this on. I ain't gonna pay for this, but if I can find it online, I'm definitely gonna watch.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for this, but I would like to see more.
Let me see my incognito tab to see what's happening in the schoolhouse, because this was like you said, nasty.
It was a lot. I feel like our best cameo yet. I feel like, no offense to the others, but I just feel like she came and she committed to the bit and the storyline, and it just felt like her presence mattered. And I think that I that I will separate from Bobby Lights, because Bobby Lights, his like presence was like a different thing because he is an alumni of the show. But like in terms of someone coming that is not on the show, has not played on the show, and is just like the challenge stand-in, Tori came and she tore it up. Like it was a lot. I loved the challenge too. I thought it was really fun. I thought, did you notice that when she wrote her name on the chalkboard, I thought it was going to be like a misspelled words like challenge, because she wrote misspelling, like the word misspelling, not miss blank spelling.
Nah, misspelling is one of them names that you see on Brazzers. One of them names.
Yeah, that's the stage name.
Yeah, that's misspelling. Okay. Yeah. I keep getting distracted. Stop bringing that up. Yeah. I did too. I and what was it, the GOAT? I think we talked about where they did a spelling bee, and we were talking about how just like that's not the most equitable, especially when you have people who I think at the time
English is not their first.
English wasn't their first language, right?
Yeah.
This time it's like, go find your own name and
you
just
know
erase
how
it.
that is spelled. Yeah.
You know how you spell your name. It's around the school. Go look at it. So while they're running up and down the halls, scraping their names off, biting their names off of things, like Camilla's they're getting at it. The inside the classroom, Safaree's like walking across the desk. It was very much like
Jesse's like powerlifting desks.
this was me in school in general, not the powerlifting, obviously the walking across the desk. It's just like the attention span is gone, right? And I imagine they were in there for a while because I think they had to find their name 80 something times.
85 times. Yeah.
Nuts.
And they were all completely like, I don't know how big this school was, but it was, 85 spots all through the school. I thought it was a really fun challenge and really hard because like when they came in to like check if they were done for the first couple times, like Tori would not tell them how many they had left. Just you have to check your work. So you would have to go back out not knowing how many more you need it, and like the time that it takes you to go back to the classroom that everyone's in and check in, like that takes time off the clock. I just feel like it was a really hard challenge for something so simple where they just like had things written throughout the school. They had stickers. The stickers would have freaking drove me insane. I would have been I would have been Teresa. I would have been like mucking up these nails. I would have been ripping, like the polish would have been coming off of my nails and I would have been pissed off about it. But I would have gone for it. I love like Larsa low key just being like, Teresa, she's blind as a bat. And she did okay considering,
She did okay. Yeah. But this was obviously
I think she hit 80.
Yeah, this was obviously the game between Camilla and Victoria. It got really suspenseful a couple times where it seemed like it was coming down to the wire. Like it was anybody's game. I thought like at one point they both ran in there and it was like, oh, that's the last one. No, you got one more. And then this is where Victoria took the lead. And I was very proud of her. Look at her challenge to save herself. Yeah, good job.
I know. She said, that she was hoping it was going to be some sort of like mental challenge because she's actually quite smart. She got a scholarship at the age of 17 and then she went to college and became a partier and all went downhill from there.
Yeah. I was like, look, relatable content.
Yeah.
Been there,
relatable.
done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's like
Camilla's very smart as well. She talked about how like she was like a big time like in high school as well. So I thought mental challenges would be fun, but it came down to speed and observation. Victoria wins. Yeah,
pattern recognition. Would you say it's kind of like pattern?
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's just like recognizing letters within.
Right?
Can you see? Can you differentiate? Yeah. It was wonderful. I loved like Victoria being like, I'm the valedictorian of this bitch, and then being like to the producers being like, is that right?
That's good, right? That's good.
It was a cute, charming moment, and I mean, I think I know that we've said you still think that Camilla would have gone. I still think that this was like a must win for Victoria. I think that this was a very clutch win for her. So great job for Victoria. Chappell, fun fact. Did you know that I was valedictorian? But
Jenny Autumn, you were valedictorian?
Yes, but let me tell you a little tidbit.
Okay.
My school did not do valedictorian like I think most schools do it. Like,
you mean to tell me Autumn was your last name, so you were first on the roll? Is that what you're about to tell me?
That's not what it was. It was a vote. It was a vote. So they didn't. So I think that a lot of schools, or I don't know if it's just a US thing or if it's like that everywhere, but from how I understand it, most schools it's like based on like the highest grade, right?
Yeah, the GPA.
Yeah,
Whoever has the highest GPA.
No, not me. And my school
shut it down so fast. You said not me.
I was a good student, but I wasn't a great student. Like, bitch, I had
look, I had friends
undiagnosed ADHD.
Right, but also I had friends in a life,
Yeah,
so.
I was a social butterfly. But we did a vote, and I think that it's like the person with the best grades isn't necessarily going to give the best speech,
Yeah.
So I think that the way that they did it at my school
is better.
is the way that everyone should do it. I mean, not just because I got it, but
Right.
I also
But
went to a small school. I think that in like a larger school, I probably wouldn't have. I was blessed by being from a smaller area.
Yeah, well,
But
to your point, people value a good speech, and I do think that back to what you were saying about Victoria, if she's up on the block against Teresa, although I think that she does stay, I do think you're right. This could get hairy for her because I don't think she has the ability to stand up there and vouch for herself without also shooting herself in the foot. Like
she's putting that foot in the mouth.
Right. We saw how she acted when she wasn't on the block. Had she been up on the block, we don't know that she would have made it better or worse. Last time I think it could have went either way as well. So yeah.
But she's got these moments sometimes though, like that she definitely has those moments where you're like, oh, like she ate with that.
Strokes of brilliance.
So
yeah.
It's hard to just never know what you're gonna get with Victoria. She's keeping us on our toes. But yeah, great performance from Victoria here. She wins a very clutch challenge, but like we said, we can't give the cocky to her. So we have to settle on what we're doing with the cocky this week. Jessie still maintains the one we gave out last episode.
Mm-hmm.
That is untouched. But we needed to give out another one based on the result of this banishment. I think we might be on the same page about it. Are we on the same page about it?
Well, who are you thinking?
I think based on our conversation here that we're in agreement that Wes is getting the cocky this week.
Wes gets the cocky. I think it was a perfect setup for Camilla to go this week. He made it happen.
He benefits the most from this.
And he didn't have to he didn't stand out in any big way as somebody who they should be targeting, right? Like Camilla tries to put the backlash on Wes, but right now they're not touching him. So he's good. I think that Jessie definitely deserves it last week for sure. I could argue that he probably really had a good week this week as well. But
he was the swing vote. Like he very much. That's why he was so nervous. That's why he was pecking out of control because he's like, I have to make a decision here. I don't know. I think it was him and Safaree really were the swings, but
yeah, I think it's tough. But Wes got it.
Yes, I agree. I do think. Attention is being drawn his way. But he gets rid of someone who is going to continue to fuel those fires, who is a capable player in Camilla. Even though she kind of throws a bomb on the way out, she's gone. And, based on the preview for next week, his name is coming up. But I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Do you think this is a smokescreen and that Wes is positioned well enough that he'll probably be okay, or are we giving him the cocky is the cocky before the storm?
Yeah, I mean, if he wins Supervillain of the Week, it doesn't matter that they're all targeting him, right?
True.
Because he's immune for the week, and then he still has a chance to save himself with the banishment ceremony if that happens. And so I think he's fine. I think we got to give it to Wes now because although his name is coming up in the previews, if we don't give it to him now, maybe he does run out of time next week, and we'd have to be like, oh well, dang, we should have gave it to him when he had the chance.
And we really haven't seen him compete,
right?
We haven't really seen him need to fight for his life, which we know that he's very capable of doing.
Yeah. So I think it's fine. I think Wes is good. If there's a way they can get Jessie and Safaree on board with getting rid of Wes early, then they might have a shot at it, but it's going to be very hard to get rid of Wes. Because he has 3 built-in allies. He has Safaree, he has, I won't say built-in, but he has 3 allies. He has Safaree, he has Spectacular, and he has Victoria. So that's 3 out of the 8
Larsa is still kind of doing.
And Larsa is still kind of doing that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how solid that is, but she basically kind of chose him.
Yeah. I mean, she rolled with him. Yeah. And then if depending on who he's sitting next to, it doesn't matter if they have Larsa or not. If Larsa if it's Victoria, he's automatically going to put up, she's automatically going to vote for Wes. There are just certain iterations of this that it just doesn't bode well for anybody who sits next to him right now. So it'd be tough. So shout out to Wes for getting the cocky. I think most people would be shocked that it took 6 episodes for us to give somebody named Wes the cocky, because he just feels like he embodies that entire ideal, right? Of just being so self-absorbed in the game,
the bravado,
and knowing that he's a good character like that. Him and Jessie, it took them long enough, but they got him.
Yeah, and I feel very good about this decision. We basically said it last week that, some people did some work, but it really just depended on how it shook out. And it's hard to deny this is a really, really great result for Wes. And I think that he put in a lot of work that was pretty under the radar. So yeah, wild that it's episode 6 and Wes is just finally getting the cocky, but I think it's well deserved here. And next week we're gonna have a new super villain of the week. We're gonna find out who's gonna be up for the hit list. And I'm very excited because I just feel like we reset, and it's just like I think I'm very interested to see where things go from here, because it really just depends on who gets the super villain of the week. Is there someone you want to see get power here?
Maybe Teresa getting power would be interesting now that we know that she has the opportunity to betray some of her allies.
New York. We don't want or do we want to see if New York is up, is she just gonna be like, all right, I'm gone, I'm gonna go out in a blaze of glory, which I would love, but I'm just like, I don't really know if I want to lose her yet.
I don't even know if Teresa would do it. I think that Teresa has shown herself to be
put up New York.
Listen, she should if she's in that position. But people are terrified to put up New York. Do you see what even happens when you utter her name? And then if she puts up New York, does she even have the votes to get New York out? You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think they do. That's why I love
New York versus Victoria. I think Victoria's cooked. Yeah,
I agree.
So yeah, I don't know. I just think that I would love to see what Teresa does given power. I would love to see what Safaree would do given power. I don't think he would put up New York. So I'm like, okay. I love how it's become like, who do you want to be super villain of the week as long as they don't put up New York? Because I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not game, but take her as long as you can. 6 episodes.
We're not unbiased reporting here, okay?
Right. No. We're saying what the people want us to say, which is leave her in for a little bit longer.
I'm gonna say who I would like to see super villain of the week next is I want Mr. Spectacular. I want to see him get messy. I think it's time, It's a shorter game. This isn't Big Brother, and it's time to get a little messy. And I think that he's played like a really good game. I mean, I don't think that he needs it.
No.
But I personally just want to see it. So,
yeah. I mean, if he gets it, it wouldn't be crazy to just put up Larsa, put up Candy, and put up, Victoria, and just see what happens, right? Like, I think he can get away with all 3 of those things. They could save Victoria if they want to. I think his target needs to be Candy. I think Candy.
I think he puts up. I think he should put up Teresa, Candy, Victoria. That's what I think his nominations should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think he has like an okay thing with Larsa.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he has any real relationship with Teresa.
Right. But this is exactly why he doesn't need to
win finding him a breath or a fresh of breath air.
Yeah. This is why he doesn't need to win it, right? He's in a good relationship with a lot of people. I think the person who is the biggest threat to his game right now is Candy. I think that Candy could easily put up him and Wes and Safaree and be done with it and have no qualms about it, not feel any type of way about it, and be done with it. Candy's lost all of their allies, so it's kind of like okay.
And I think Candy is good in challenges probably too. So when that's like a strength of Jesse's, like that, if he's not working with Candy, that's someone you want to take off of the board too.
But shout out to Candy though, also cooking a little bit right now. Okay. No allies, but also nobody's targeting Candy. So
I mean, she doesn't even end up on the nominations there when she really should have. So no, here's the thing. Jesse's playing a great game. I just want to see him have to like kind of start drawing some lines here. And show us a little bit of that villain side. I think that he'll give us some good theatrics, with his nominations and stuff like that. So I think it'd be really fun. But we will have to see next week when we will be back, of course, for episode 7 of House of Villains season 2. I'm having a great time, Chappell.
So much fun. So much fun.
It's such a I just feel like it needed some fun, light entertainment. And this show listen, we can spend all of this time breaking down the strategy of it. Like, we have these like intense, like strategic discussions about this show when it's ultimately still so silly and so light and fun. And that's what I love about it. It's like you can get everything you want here.
Right. This show is just cotton candy for us, and then we come in and just like, so what do you think this person should do? But ultimately, we're just happy that these people are on the screen at the same time. It's so much fun watching them all play.
Yeah, it's like we're just glad that we get to do this. Yeah. So anything else we haven't hit on here, or I think we're good. You're gonna.
I think we're good. Yeah, this works.
Think about Tori spelling and apples spitting into mouth.
It's just the way she said it. You know, it's not the apple or Tori spelling it specifically. Said it was the like spit it in my mouth. You know, I was like, okay, well,
it was not a request, it was a demand, you know,
which is exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
That's some good shit.
Hot in here? You not hot? You hot? I'm hot.
I got a fan. Let me blow it on you. You. Can you feel it over there? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, besides opening an incognito tab after this podcast, Chappell, what else do you have going on?
RHAPkickback.com is my podcast where I talk about what I want to talk about. This last episode, we had Mari and I talking about Young Thug. He got out of jail. We had to break it all down, talk about his ridiculous probationary period. We talked about Megan Thee Stallion and several other things. So check that out on this week's Recap Kickback. I also had the Walking Dead coverage on Recap Kickback. If you were watching The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon season 2, The Book of Carol, then check that out because we got the full season coverage right there. And then we got Abbott Elementary coverage as well. Then later on this week, got more secret coverage coming too. RecapKickback.com, YouTube.com/@RecapKickback to watch our beautiful faces here on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button over there and show me some love. Jenny, what about you?
Well, Chappell, is the voting still open for your podcast in the Waco Podcast Awards?
I don't even know. I just be like,
well,
vote.
If it's still open, make sure you vote if you haven't yet, because we gotta get Recap Kickback and Chappell the dub.
We gotta win something this week. We gotta win something. Yes, exactly.
We need a W so bad right now.
We got to.
Yeah. So besides this, I'm just like engaging in some self-care and offline activities. That's what I call them.
Oh my god. Speaking of incognito tabs, Jenny, I didn't even know it was that kind of party. Jenny said
that did sound really.
So look, self-love is important, Jenny. You take care of yourself, baby. I'm a slut for self-care. Yeah, I'm a slut for
offline activities. I'm really just like talking about
you ain't got to explain that to us, baby.
No, it's okay.
You ain't got to.
Yeah. Take care of yourself, everyone, is what I want to say.
Yeah.
We, as always, we really appreciate you coming by, checking out this recap. So appreciative of everyone following the coverage here and enjoying this season of House of Villains with us. Make sure you're subscribed. WeKnowVillains.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us some love. Hit the like. Make sure you're subscribed. And we will be back, of course, next week for episode 7. Until then, we'll see you later. Bye.
Peace.